What's up, guys? It's your boy James, aka Six8Jay, coming to you on this Tuesday morning. Good morning, everyone. For those of you guys who are here, those of you guys that will join soon, we appreciate each and every one of you guys here with the Crypto for Life family. Anthony Wanner, listening to the Gary Show. Lots of love. Don't really sound like anyone getting anything done as usual, but Gary was shaking. What show is that, Anthony Wanner? Huh? Good morning. Having my coffee. Oh yeah, best way to start the day with a cup of coffee and Six8Jay. Oh, what Gary Show? What's Gary Show? Explain that to me, my brother. Mike Tatner's in the house. Mike Tatner, what's up, my brother? I just got your message, Mike. I got your message. I'm gonna see what I can do, my brother. Yeah, not with my. It's funny because I have. I know you guys all have dogs. I have a dog, and my dog is, especially my bigger dog, has anxiety. So yeah, he's a big beast. This is my Siberian Husky, but literally my wife and I have to wait until nighttime to even take him for a walk. He has anxiety. I mean, I wouldn't get near him. If I was somebody, if he doesn't know you, I mean, it takes a while for him to get to know you. I seen him go after people, so it's kind of weird. It's like a double-edged sword. On one end, if you come anywhere near our place, near our doors, like we have the door open with the steel door so the air can come in. If he sees somebody, he goes nuts. I seen him want to go after other dogs. I seen a lot of, where you could just tell he would hold his own. But when it comes to walking, it's just noise. Like he doesn't trip on, like if he's walking and he sees other people and he sees other dogs, he doesn't necessarily like sounds. And I think what it was is when he was younger, I kind of figured something to say they're live right now. Bullish Big D shared on Telegram chat. Oh, gotcha. Oh, okay. They're live. Maybe I can find on Twitter. Yeah, because I'm wondering, most of the people who are typically here, Anthony, is not here. So that kind of makes sense now with the fact that everybody might be watching that. So it says here, let's see, Anthony said the Gary Show. Okay, so what is he talking about? He's probably laying the foundation of what's getting ready to happen or updates for the case. Who knows what old Gary G. I haven't seen anything, but then again, I haven't really looked. Let me see. Excuse me here. Let's see. It might be on. Let's see. I didn't get up early enough to see. Oh, here it is right here. I see it. We'll be testifying live on stream before the House Committee of Financial Services Ripple lawsuit will most likely be mentioned at some point. I got you. That's where everybody's at. Okay. Oh, I see. Right here. See, it looks like it's live right here. I might be able to share it. Let's see.
Employee surveys. These are employee surveys done by outsiders.
We'll watch it together. How's that?
Out of 27 mid-sized agencies. But in terms of digital assets, we could certainly use more resources.
Okay.
It is definitely, there are more things to look at and investigate than we have people on the staff to do.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.
The gentleman from Missouri, Mr. Cleaver, is now recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, thank you for your April letter.
It looks like this is what everybody's tuned into, so we'll just watch this together. How's that?
Congress that we needed to raise the debt ceiling, and I appreciate the fact that you clearly understand and recognize the importance of this. I mean, we've raised the debt ceiling 78 separate times since 1968, and both parties, 49 times under Republicans and 29 times under Democrats. It is something we have to do. My first question is, do you think that the mere suggestion that we're not going to deal with the debt ceiling create a problem for us economically? I mean, one of your responsibilities is maintain some level of order in the markets. So what do you think, just the mere suggestion, just a mere threat, what does that do?
It puts a dose of uncertainty into
It
markets.
sounds like Gary is surrounded by a bunch of people that know what the hell's going on, so they go into him for all the
Problematic
answers.
the
That's what it sounds like to
closer
me.
One might get to whatever,
Seems like they're kind of
Deadline
clueless with a lot of
that-
stuff. I
so
just
that's
started
not our
listening, but that's what that guy sounded like.
but, and then if we were to go over said X date, it would really undermine, it would be one heck of a mess in capital markets, that's for sure, but it would undermine the base of our capital markets, U.S. Treasuries, or, the risk-free
That's right,
part of our
Carmichael.
capital markets that everything else is built on.
I was gonna go over our regular show. We might continue on, depends on how much this lasts, but I'm gonna watch this with you guys live. How's that?
2011,
Family.
when-
That's right.
there was a stalemate, we're not going to do anything, and so we ended up, of course, averting the cataclysm, but we still did damage to the economy, because the gamesmanship caused us not to address this very serious problem. I guess we have failed once, and then maybe more you may be to address our.
Lowell Jackson in the house.
1812, we didn't have the resources for.
Today's topic is everything
Since then,
crypto.
we've met our
And
obligations.
since everybody is obviously watching
And I'm
Gary Gonzo Gensler live, I guess we're
maybe
gonna do the same
obsessed
thing.
with what could happen if we don't.
This is most important. Looks like that's where everybody's at anyway. Lower Jackson in the house.
It's troublesome to me. I don't think
Carmichael,
you're probably old
Anthony
enough to
Wanner,
remember
Mike Tatner.
a movie that came out in 1974
You quote
called
movies.
Blazing Saddles.
I remember that movie.
It's one of my favorite movies, should have won the Academy Award. But you may remember the scene. Gene Wilder's is brilliant, but
Frankie Legend, good morning, my
Cleveland
brother.
Noble played the
We have
role
a
of the guy
pump?
named
What?
Mark.
He said, how about that pump?
And
What
at one
pump?
point in the movie,
We're watching Gary Gensler live right
people
now.
ready to lynch him.
What pump we have?
He takes out
Oh, wow.
his
We do have a pump going.
gun and puts it to his own head,
Oh, wow.
and he said, "Get back or I'll shoot."
This guy's quoting a movie, so we're not going to pay attention too much to him
You're
right now.
probably hesitant to want to say this.
But at the end of the day, for those of you guys who listen in, we're at a $1.2 trillion market cap.
Being old enough to have seen the movie.
Bitcoin is back over
I
30,000
just,
at
I learned
30,100,
enough to say,
almost 30,200.
it's between Congress.
Dr.
and
Sheep's in
other
the house,
parts of
Frankie
the
Legend.
administration,
We're listening
Treasury
to
Department,
Gary Gensler live,
finance.
guys.
I
So
can just speak to the
this is
capital markets
this
piece.
seems like it's more
Capital
important. So we're
markets
gonna
piece.
watch this together.
We've
For
already
those of you guys who
seen
want to stick
some
around,
small bits.
smash a like, hit the subscribe. We appreciate you guys being here.
Money market funds and other funds that are being careful about which short-term treasury bills they buy.
Okay.
But if we were to get close to that X date,
Mm-hmm.
your proverbial
Yes.
visual that you just did from the movie from 1974, it is likely that we would start to see fraying, less liquidity in the treasury markets, which ultimately means higher cost to the taxpayers coming into that. And then, if we were to go over that default cliff, it
Blazing
would
Saddles,
be,
yeah, they
of
did.
course, unprecedented, but it'd be one heck of a mess in capital markets. It would hurt the equity markets. It would hurt the rest of the fixed income markets. And it would ripple into the banking system as
Ripple,
well.
what'd you say? Let me see.
Not to mention all the money market funds.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Well, I like my colleague. I think we need to exchange movie lists. A lot of bipartisanship, that's true. So with that, we'll go to the gentleman from Missouri, Mr. Lukemeyer, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Welcome, Chair Gensler. We certainly appreciate you being here today. And when I was talking to some friends of mine yesterday about your appearance, they said, "Oh, the APA director." And we've all chuckled about that, but it makes the point that it seems as though your agency has taken on a different mission, that you seem to be pushing an ESG agenda, which is, in my mind, something that's not in the best interest or under your purview
Uh-oh.
of
Get
the,
'em.
of the SEC.
Get him.
So I'll let my other colleagues get into that a little bit deeper, but I want to put something on record with regards to that. My first question deals with mortgage insurance-linked notes. According to the National Association of Realtors, the average first-time home buyer's down payment is 6%.
Okay.
In an environment of elevated interest rates and home prices, private mortgage insurance can make the difference between a family becoming homeowners or waiting years on the sidelines to amass a 20% down payment.
What do I got to do with
At the same time, private mortgage insurance protects taxpayers by standing in front of credit losses at the GSEs in the event a borrower defaults on low down payment loans. Like other insurers, private mortgage insurers.
All right, guys, we're going to pick back up on this. Maybe they'll start talking about, we're going to go in and out of this video because they're live. So for right now, when I started this show, guys, I didn't even talk about the markets or anything because I realized that a lot of people weren't here because they're watching this live. Shouts out to Bullish Big D. I think he must have tweeted it in the Telegram, so everybody's kind of paying attention, which is huge, especially for those of us who are XRP holders. So, guys, again, super excited about having everyone today. Thank you guys so much for being here. We'll continue that here in a second. The markets right now are, they're ticking up, guys. We're at, again, a 1.27 trillion. Bitcoin is on a bit of a tear. Not too much, but the fact that we got back up to 30,189. We got down to 29,000 some change, 29,500 or so like that. We got Ethereum right now at almost at 20,100. It's at 20,097. We got BNB at 343. We got XRP at 52 cents. Come on, XRP. All they got, do you realize if they say something key in this like, Gary Gensler, you're stupid. It's over. End it. This price is going to go crazy. I'm just saying, let me stop. ADA is at 44 cents. We got Dogecoin at 9 cents. What's up with Doge? 10% for the week. Good Lord. Polygon Matic is at 117. We got Solana at 2503. We got Polkadot at 690. Polkadot, can you please come down? Stop going up. Dang it. I wasn't ready for you to go up right now. I want to get more. That's selfish. 21.26 for Avalanche. We got AVAX. AVAX up 15.44% for the week. Good Lord. AVAX on fire. Shiba is at 4011. 4 zeros and a couple ones behind it. We've got Tron at 6 cents. We've got Chainlink at 8.60. I'm telling you. I told you guys before, when Chainlink gets like 750, it looks like a blink of an eye and it's at $15. Right now it's at 17.66%. Uniswap is at 628. Atom is at 12.59. What else we got going here, guys? We got Stella XLM is at 10 cents. We got Filecoin at 622. We got APT at 12.55. We got Arbitrum back up again. Arbitrum caught fire again. It looked like it came down, capitulated around 162. And boom, back up to the moon again. I'm telling you, Arbitrum, I think, is going to have a massive run this next bull cycle, guys. And again, remember, nothing we talk about is should ever be considered or deemed financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. My name is James, a.k.a. Six8Jay. I'm just documenting my journey in the evolution of money and sharing it with the family. That's right. You must do your own research, do your own due diligence, always invest based off of your own personal situation, and never invest off of anything that we talk about on this show. But again, going back, Arbitrum's on fire. 43% for the week. We got LDO is at 253. We got H-bar. Everybody likes H-bar. Is at 6 cents. We got NEAR. Let's make it clear. It's at 235, back over $2. Very strong. It's at 13% up for the week. We got ICP up 31% for the week. Whoa! If you didn't know, ICP is a big deal. And right now it's on fire like Mariah. If I was in the shower, that would sound better. Let's keep it going. We got VeChain at 7 cents. That thing is got a little bit of a pumpity pump. Not too much. It's at 5% for the week. We got Kronos. Uh-oh. If you didn't know, Crow, that's the way to go. 7 cents. Down for what? 96 cents? A lot of upside to that. We've got ApeCoin at 450. We got Algorand at 22 cents. We got the Graph GRT at 17 cents, up 15% for the week. FTM Phantom continues on the rise at 53 cents. It's at 7.39 for the week. We got QNT at 118. EOS at 122. Mana, 67 cents. Hey, 60. We're gone. 10% for the week. We got Theta at 119. Stacks, just like Tail Songs, at 85 cents. Even though it showed that it's 10% down for the week. We got Aave at 82.12. We've got Multiverse X, the coin formerly known as EGLD. Up at 43.54. We got Tezos at 117. That AI was actually the OG of the industry. We got 485 up for the week. We've got AXS up 6.9% for the week. We got Flow, if you didn't know. Here we go. It's up over $1 again. At 105, almost 5% for the week. We got Rocket Pool, almost 20% for the week at 18.49%. It's at 56.01. We got Sand at 70 cents. I'm telling you, altcoins are starting to lift off. We're going to see what happens. IMX is at 114. CFX is at 54 cents. We've got CHZ, for those of you guys who are into that. What is that, like a sports coin, something like that? It's at 13 cents for the 13 cents and about 3% for the week. We got Curve 108. Optimism, that other layer 2 juggernaut, just like Arbitrum, it's at 265. GMX is at $88. $88.67, up 12% for the week. We got RNDR. We Googled that top 10 AI coins, and guess what was on the list with GRT was RNDR, along with AGIX, along with FET, along with Rose, along with many others. But this is up 27% for the week. We got SNX at 2.92 cents. We got 10% for the week. We got, let's see, Loop, for those of you guys that might be into that, 3 zeros and a 1 2. INJ was on fire. Did I already say like Mariah? Just saying. It's at $9 right now, 40% for the week. What else we got going here, guys? Anything else worth talking about? Cake. That cake is at 3.63 cents. Let's see, anything else worth talking about here? IOTA is at 22 cents. XDC, you know how we feel about that one. That's another one. XFIN, it's at 4 cents right now. That's what I'm saying, guys. When you look at stuff like GT, right? So GT, this is another. This again just kind of furthers gate chain. Okay, gate chain. Okay, all right. I thought that was actually connected to Gate.io, which I'm not sure if it is or not, but it just cracks me up how some of these exchange coins, I don't know if that's if that looks like Gate.io, but I'm not sure if that's what it means. CSPR is at 5 cents. We got BitTorrent, a lot of zeros. What are you doing? Nothing. TWT, Trust Wallet, coin is at 133. Anything else we're talking about? Zilliqa is a real Dillica. It's at 3 cents, 11% for the week. We got Singularity Net. You know how we feel about that. We just mentioned it. AGIX, 43 cents. Just about 5% for the week. We got Flare. Don't you dare. You know how we feel about Flare. Flare is at 3 cents. It's kind of stagnant. Moving sideways. ENJ, 45 cents. Rose, we just talked about Rose at 7 cents. Kava is at 94. BAT at 28. All right, guys, so that's where our markets are at right now. For a lot of you guys, welcome. Appreciate you guys. Smash the likes. Hit the subscribe. Show your love. Let's get back to old Gary Gonzo G. Let's see what he's talking about.
Must manage capital positions. Mortgage insurers are in fact encouraged.
I'm asking you, sitting in your chair now, to make an assessment under the laws as exist. Is Ether a commodity or a security?
Uh-oh.
Without
He's shaking.
speaking to
Stop shaking.
anyone.
I know you've
Okay.
repeatedly
It's
said
a
you're not
matter
going to
of
speak to
facts.
one, except you've spoken to one. Bitcoin.
Look at him shaking. Whoa. Shake, shake, shake.
As amended.
I'm asking
Shake
you,
your-
sitting in your chair
shake
now,
your
to make
booty.
an assessment
Uh-oh. What happened? Wait a minute. How did I get the Wendy O? What happened
under
to
the
my live?
laws as exist.
Oh, I lost my live. Where is that? Dang it. Did I lose it? Is that it? No, where's the live at? That was kind of funny watching him shake. Oh, dang it. Where's the live at? Is this it? I just lost. I had the live.
Look, I think that the general sweep of what Congress did, not just in the 30s, but as amended.
I'm asking you,
here,
sitting in your chair now, to make an assessment under the
Get him. Where's? Oh, here it is right here. Is this live?
private
we
capital
go.
markets of
Okay.
like today. But he
I don't want to lose that again, so I need to share
ran a
this.
small business with 30 or 40 employees, and he didn't tap the public markets. I was at Goldman Sachs for many years before it was. a
Get
public
him. You see him
company.
shaking?
That was a big company.
Let me think.
only private
I supported
markets. So I
Algo.
think
I'm
both
full of crap.
have a
Let's keep
role to
going.
play.
Get him.
In terms of our regulatory agenda, what we're trying to bring is greater efficiency and
That's right,
competition
JC.
in the asset management of private capital. These $20, $25 trillion of assets under management by hedge funds
Okay.
and private equity and the like, and through greater transparency of their fees, their performance, and their side letters where they might be, having different deals. And this is really going to help the retirees in all of your states, because most of your states are invested in private equity and in hedge funds as the limited partners. It helps the state treasurers, it helps the endowments, it helps the people behind that. If we can bring greater competition in a field that probably has, at just 2%, it would be $500 billion a year in revenues to the asset managers. This is what I meant earlier. It's important that our capital markets work for investors and issuers, not the middle, maybe.
Time's expired. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
We'll now go to the gentleman from Michigan, Mr. Huizinga, for 5 minutes.
That's a great question, Anthony.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
There's a lot of people who are
and,
saying that he
glad to see
promoted,
here,
you know, by
Mr.
him
Chair
mentioning
Gainsborough.
algo.
And
Now
I do
the
wanna
big thing
congratulate
right
you
now.
on appointing a
Now the big thing right now is when he was talking about algo, a lot of people are saying, "Well, I bought algo because he mentioned it." So it's like, what's the difference? Like basically, he's getting on the XRP Ripple, saying that there's security and people bought it with a certain mindset or were influenced to buy it, whatever. Well, people are now saying, okay, well, you mentioned algo, you're on stage, you actually brought it up. It's all over Twitter, it's all over social media, everything, especially Twitter. And people are like, well, I bought algo because of you. Now what? And I'm in the red right now. I lost money. Some people are like, I bought it all the time. Just say, oh, Gary G. I think that, yeah, who knows? Let's see what happens. We're going to keep it rolling, guys. Appreciate you guys being here. The greatest way to start your day with the Crypto for Life family. But obviously, there's nothing more important than this live right now. So we'll talk about this. If we got time, we'll get into other things. But let's keep it going. Everything crypto.
is a copy of a letter that myself and Chairman McHenry sent you congratulating you as being confirmed as chair in 2021.
Okay.
I have that one in my file already.
Okay.
So frankly, it's
Another letter.
insufficient
You're fired.
and
Who's that?
frankly unacceptable what has been going on.
That's right.
I think it's an embarrassment to you
That's right.
and to your team that you sent me a copy of the letter I sent you
Oh, wow.
and then tried to call that responsive.
Wow.
That doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. And
He's an idiot.
further, your response letter to the chairman and myself, the SEC staff admitted
Get 'em.
that the proposed rule, quote, could increase costs, quote, close quote, related to energy prices under certain circumstances, but you provided no analysis, the actual information that we were looking for, not my letter to you congratulating you as becoming chair. We wanted the analysis on how the commission determined that. Did the SEC conduct an analysis of how this new climate disclosure regime could change energy prices before publishing the proposal?
We, under the law, focus on the costs and benefits.
Did you produce an analysis?
Get 'em.
Did you conduct an analysis?
Get him.
The analysis that we put out is in the proposal we put out last year about the economics with
Okay,
regard
so
to
you
issuing
did,
companies.
you did do an analysis, all right? Because it looks like it may have relied mostly on
Wasn't Gary
public
Gensler
comments to
Homer
inform your
Simpson's
cost
boss
benefit
on The
analysis.
Simpsons?
I
I'm just saying.
just want to make
Wasn't that
sure
him?
for the record,
stop.
we did an analysis with regard to the costs.
Mm-hmm.
It's technically the efficiency, competition, and capital formation analysis that we put, and it's out there in the public domain, and we've gotten feedback on that. We're not a climate regulator.
So, well, amen to that.
I mean,
We understand
agree
that.
on that, sir.
So did you rely on any internal economic data or assessment to inform your cost-benefit analysis? In other words, did you, the SEC, perform any of that cost-benefit analysis internally?
So the SEC looked at, I think, over 6,000 public
So that's a yes?
registration statements. Yes, there's a lot of analysis, and that is summarized and put out to public comment.
All right, and I would like to see those documents provided immediately. You're willing to do that then?
I'm a firm believer in congressional oversight. I know that I'm not.
Okay, well, that was previously requested, and you sent me a copy of the letter that I sent to you congratulating you. So, sounds like we now have an understanding
It's
that you're
almost
going
like-
to actually send us your
It
analysis.
was almost like he was arrogant in
I know
saying,
that
"You
the-
hired
Yes or
me.
no?
Leave me
Well, I
alone.
know
Here's
that
my
our
letter that you
staffs
sent
are
me."
working with
We have a
those
minute.
staffs.
Yes or no?
And
Wow.
I believe in congressional oversight, and I know our
Okay,
staffs
all
are
right,
working
moving on,
together.
moving on. I'm
what
taking
a-
that as a no.
what
So
an idiot.
the climate
Wow.
disclosure request, you like that. You responded to our FTX request solely with publicly available documents.
Wow.
To date, 213 pages of those publicly available
That's right,
documents
Anthony
have produced. And guess what? You didn't give us anything surrounding the charges filed against Sam Bankman-Fried. On April 12, Chair McHenry and I sent you a follow-up letter, and we're led to believe that the staff recommendation memo presented to the commission for a vote on charges against Sam Bankman-Fried exists. Is that true? Is there a memo from the staff recommending to the commission the charges that Sam Bankman-Fried was ultimately charged with?
Under standard practice, our commission receives action memos from the staff whenever.
So it does exist.
We work on,
So it does exist. Okay, well, you haven't sent that to us. Your staff has frankly told us that it exists, yet you have not sent it.
when we conduct an investigation.
Wow.
We are obliged to keep investigative matters confidential.
So don't, hold on a second, don't hide behind the DOJ, because then it sounds like I need to send letters to the DOJ and not to the SEC about the SEC charges. So we'll be following up with this after this. My time has expired.
Response to our questions would be appropriate. We'll go to
Respond,
Mrs. Beatty of
fool.
Ohio for 5 minutes.
Get him! This is must-see TV. I love it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Ranking Member.
I'll comment
And
in
thank you
between,
to
but
our
honestly, guys,
witness
this is
today,
the
Mr.
best thing right
Gensler.
now on TV.
Thank you for also responding to
Oh,
us and
more serious.
taking the
People never
time
answer
to
questions.
talk
It's
to
sad.
me
That's
about
correct,
the
Ms. Forrest.
SEC and meet with our team
Get him,
and
Ms.
being
Beatty.
here today. Kind of staying in this same questioning with the climate rule. As you know, and many may know, I'm a former small business owner myself, so I think I know as well, if not better, than most of the unique challenges that small businesses might have, as well as maybe family farms. With that in mind, I want to ask about the Commission's proposed climate disclosure rule. We've heard many critics, people on the other side of the aisle have framed this rule on its emissions disclosure, especially Scope 3 emissions requirements, as being burdensome for small businesses and family farms. I've been doing a lot of reading, research, articles on this, so I want to give you a minute or so to chat with us about, is this rule that burdensome to small businesses, or are there actually ways that they've been protected?
So our proposal and our authorities are about public companies, and that's what it speaks to, and really it's just about public companies. We do not place through this proposal, and nor do we intend to have any obligations.
Why would they
on
dare give him billions of dollars that he's asking
non-public
for?
companies.
All this money he's asking
There's
for
small
is ridiculous.
businesses, there's agriculture interests that you might be referencing.
And then he's such a hypocrite. 1 minute you're talking about Algo,
Companies,
1 minute you're talking about this.
Currently are making, hundreds and hundreds of companies are making
1 minute
disclosures about
Ethereum's okay,
greenhouse
next
gas
minute it's a
emissions.
security. Get him!
And some of those are, as you
Get 'em,
mentioned, about their
Lord.
supply chain
Oh,
or
guys.
so-called Scope 3.
Skeletor.
And even in
No,
our
that's Homer
proposal,
Simpson's
we
boss from The
recognized
Simpsons.
and we said,
Lord.
our
Oh, my
obligation
goodness.
is, the obligation is only on the public company. They can make estimates if there's something that they are talking to their shareholders about. But we got a lot of feedback, we got a lot of comments on this issue, and we're taking that into consideration.
Okay.
And as we do on all our rules, we'll consider making adjustments if appropriate.
Okay, if
Okay, thank
appropriate.
you. Let me try to get another question in here. Certainly, as you know, investor protection is a key part of your mission. And I want to take a moment to highlight some of the investors in my home state of Ohio, like teachers and firefighters, police, and other public
trying to figure out how to
servants,
split my screen.
saving for retirement through their state public pension system.
it.
These public servants
How
saving
do I
for
do that?
retirement
I know there's a way to do
are a part of the constituency the SEC is
guys
tasked
bear
with
with me.
protecting through its investor protection mission. Last month, and we've heard, or it's been referenced many times about our SVB hearing, I expressed a concern then about the Ohio State Teachers Retirement System, how it suffered a big loss with some $27 million invested in SVP. What actions has the SEC taken under your leadership to protect these
None.
workers, their retirement savings, or
How do I do that?
what can I go back and tell my constituents?
Nothing. Gary,
Well,
nothing on
I
this.
think really most of our agenda, whether it's our enforcement that we do, ensuring that people follow the law, or our rulemaking helps protect those retirees. But I would just even go back to an earlier comment. We're really trying to bring greater competition and efficiency in the private funds area, because those retirees are often invested in those private equity and hedge funds. And if we can help through transparency, instill greater competition. That could mean lower costs, lower fees to those folks.
I have about 35 seconds. Is there anything you'd like to share with us if I yield my last 30
Yes,
seconds
please
to
fire
you?
me. Please fire me. I'm sorry.
Well, if I could just note something about, you mentioned your hearing about the recent events in the markets, and I would note there were 3 banks that failed in those handful of days, those 4 or 5 days. And 2 of those banks, the first and the third that failed, Silvergate and Signature, were engaged in the crypto business.
Oh, here we go.
Some would say they were, crypto banks. And the third, the biggest, Silicon Valley Bank, actually, when it failed, you saw this country's, the world's second leading stable coin, had $3 billion involved there, DPEG. So it's interesting just how this was all.
But what does that got to do with
some
crypto, though?
Thank you.
narrative as well.
And my time is up. Thank you,
So
Mr.
he's
Chairman.
taking a shot at
Gentlewoman
crypto,
from
but the
Missouri,
bank's failing has
Ms.
nothing to
Wagner's
do
now
with
recognized
crypto.
for 5 minutes.
Nothing.
It's stupid.
Thank you, Mr.
He brings
Chairman.
up crypto.
Chair Gensler,
That's just
you've
dumb.
publicly stated that, and I quote, our
Yeah,
markets
a man without honor.
are the finest in the world, and that, quote, retail investors have greater access to markets than at any time in the past.
My question, guys,
Yeah.
is what
Despite these statements,
What is the banks collapsing have anything? He took a shot at crypto and how it depegged. What in the hell does that have to do with the banks failing? Because the banks fail and because crypto companies like Circle had their money invested or not invested, but in that bank, yes, it got depegged. Yes, it affected because you initially held their money, or I mean, this is just ridiculous. This dude is an idiot. That was one of the most idiotic things he could have said. He gets a moment to finish out with 30 seconds, and he tries to take a shot at crypto.
which
What
I
an idiot.
wholeheartedly estimate the economic effects
That
of
guy's
the
stupid.
proposals. This uncertainty means that these proposals will likely make markets worse
Wow.
for retail investors. You may be willing to risk that, but members of Congress who represent these retail investors, as well as American businesses
Yep, get 'em.
seeking to raise capital in our equity markets are not, sir. If the SEC's client truly is the American public, as you've said many times before, then I
Nothing
would
to do with
urge you
crypto,
to
Frankie Legend. Nothing to
reconsider
do with
these
crypto.
proposals before putting millions of Americans' hard-earned savings at risk. You said repeatedly,
Wow.
let me change topics here, that the duty of best execution is too important for only FINRA to have a best execution rule, and that the SEC should have one as well. I'd like a yes or no answer here, sir. Are you aware that there is a process under existing rules for the SEC to amend or change FINRA's rules, which would include its current best execution rule? Yes or no?
Yes, I'm aware we have that authority.
Yes or no? Do you believe
Yes or no? Were you the
FINRA
guy
is
who was
incapable
Homer Simpson's
of
boss in
maintaining
The
and
Simpsons? Yes or
enforcing
no?
an adequate
Damn it.
best execution rule?
I think this is an important rule that we should have at the commission level. to
Yes or
protect
no?
the
Are
public.
they incapable of maintaining and enforcing an adequate best execution rule?
Again, I think we should adopt one at our level as well, and we have it in other
All right,
areas. as
reclaim my
well.
time. As proposed, it would be duplicative,
Get him.
onerous, and costly for firms to comply with both the SEC and now FINRA's best execution regulations at the same time. Chair Gensler, your proposed rule on open-end fund liquidity would require funds
Burns.
to assume a worst-case
Mr.
scenario
Burns.
of a 10% sell-off on the fund when classifying the liquidity of assets. I have spoken with many asset managers who inform me a 10% run would be a magnitude higher than any that they have seen in recent history. One asset manager informed me that the highest run they have seen going back to the crash of '08 was 2%. What historical data did you use to justify the 10%? And is it appropriate for the SEC to require funds to operate in a scenario that is 5 times worse than historical standards?
This was just to define what is highly liquid, middle liquid, and then illiquid. And so it was really a definitional.
What
about
historical
what's-
data did you use to come up with the 10%?
Again, we lay that out in our
No, you don't.
proposals, but I'd be glad to follow up.
Yeah,
And-
you don't lay it out at all. Chair Gensler, you have testified before this committee twice that both times I have asked you if you intended to rewrite Regulation Best Interest Reg BI, and you have said no. Is that still the case?
That's still the case. It's not
Do
on
you
our
remain
unified
committed
agenda.
to supporting the continued implementation of Reg BI?
We look to vigorously enforce it.
So do you intend to rewrite Regulation Best Interest Reg BI? You've said no in the past.
Oh, I'm sorry, I misunderstood your question. It's not on our unified agenda.
Great. Chair Gensler, out of the more than 50 rules
This dude.
proposed under your leadership, none appear to directly address capital formation. If you believe that one or more of these proposals directly addresses this crucial issue, please cite which ones.
My beautiful
and
queen,
specifically
Jeanette.
how
Good morning,
that
beautiful.
standard is met.
Hit that like and
10
subscribe.
seconds.
Show your love.
I think that many of them do because it's about issuers and investors. I would just take private funds. If private fund advisors, the general partners are taking $500 billion of fees a year, if it
My time's
came
expired.
down-
I'd ask you to respond in writing and be very specific to your mandate of protecting the retail investor, capital formation, and
pissed.
small
She's pissed.
businesses and IPOs. Thank you. I leave it back.
Gentleman from Illinois, Mr. Cass, is now recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Nice to see you, Mr. Chairman. Do you believe that climate change creates significant financial risks to corporations?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the word in there.
Do you believe that climate change creates financial risk to corporations?
It's really what investors are basing their investment decisions. And what we found in public input is significant number of investors managing tens of trillions of dollars of assets believe that it's important to their investment decisions. That's the standard we're held to.
Well, let me maybe then sort of add a little color. In 2020, as you know, the CFTC said that climate change poses a major risk to the stability of the U.S. financial system. In 2021,
Yeah, she was
FSOC
pissed.
said that climate change is an emerging threat. And recently, the IPCC said that within the range of possible temperature rises, global economic losses could amount to $23 trillion per year. Are these numbers material?
They're significant to the economy, but what's material is that investors in public companies are today making decisions based on climate risk disclosures, and we're trying to bring some consistency to that.
Is it your view that clear disclosures would help investors to hedge those risks?
That is certainly what our comment file, that we've had thousands of investors who have said that to us.
Okay. I'm assuming this is a yes. You're familiar with the term information asymmetry?
Yeah, yes, I am very much so.
Okay. There was a report from Nature Climate Change recently that said that real estate in the United States is estimated to be overvalued by $121 to $237 billion due to unpriced flood risk driven by climate change, with low-income households facing the greatest risk of losing home equity, as was the case in the 2007-2008 housing crisis. Can you speak to how your proposed rule would address that informational asymmetry between folks who are aware that they're overpriced and folks who are not?
I mentioned it about Chair Rayburn and President Roosevelt. They were trying to address information asymmetries, that the public didn't have full, fair, and truthful disclosures from companies accurately describing their risk. That's what we're doing here in this proposed climate risk, is so that the investing public better understands the risk when they buy or sell a security.
Okay. When I'm done here, I'm going to run to the Science Committee, so you'll forgive me if I dump into the science side here a little bit. There was an article in the Washington Post, I think it was just last week, actually, that talked about the effect of climate change in coastal communities in the U.S., found that recent hurricanes Michael and Ian were both made much worse by warming oceans. Federal tide gauge data, this number was shocking. In Louisiana, the sea level is 8 inches higher than it was in 2006 when Hurricane Katrina hit. Just since 2006 is 8 inches higher. NOAA has said that they expect 2 feet of additional sea level rise on the Gulf Coast by 2050. So if you buy a home in Pensacola today, it'll be underwater before the mortgage is paid off. I could go on, and there's data from First Street that there's more than 400,000 properties, more than a third in West Virginia, that are at risk of severe flooding. is it logical to assume that purely profit-driven companies are going to seek to offload that risk onto less sophisticated players?
Well, public companies, which is the only thing we oversee is the public companies, manage their risk, and this has become an important risk, and it's a risk that investors want to understand how they're managing it, whether, as you say, they're defraying it or offloading it on others, or they're retaining it inside. And that's really, it's about disclosures of how they're managing that risk, like they manage other risks.
So I asked that question because we know, and the CFTC report actually acknowledged that they said that they have seen that insurers are offloading risk onto Fannie and Freddie disproportionately in flood-prone areas. Given that movement, and given your obligation to protect investors, is it safe to say that your mandate is to protect all investors, not just the sophisticated ones?
It is absolutely correct that it's all investors, whether it's the most sophisticated, the largest, and the smallest, but we're merit neutral, I just want to say. So it's a matter of disclosure-based, disclosing the risk and how those companies are managing those risks.
Well, obviously from my questions, I agree, and you had mentioned $130 trillion of global assets under management that are looking to get into ESG pieces. And as we sit here saying, should we be protecting all investors, or is that just woke? I'm glad to hear you keep pushing this, and I would just urge you, given your mandate at the SEC, to continue to push hard for a strong climate.
The gentleman's time has expired. The gentleman from Kentucky, Mr. Barr, is now recognized for 5 minutes.
Chairman Gensler, I want to discuss Staff Accounting Bulletin 121, which was issued last year by the SEC's Office of Chief Accountant. SAB 121 requires SEC registrants, including banks, to include on their balance sheets crypto assets that are custodied on behalf of their clients.
Here we go.
Requiring banks to place custody digital assets on their balance is a shift, as Chairman Powell recently noted, in historical practice, as custody assets have always been treated as off-balance sheet. SAB 121 changed that, and I'm concerned about the consequences because banks have capital, liquidity, and other prudential requirements that non-bank custodians do not have, meaning that banks cannot offer digital asset custody services at scale without significant balance sheet implications. If banks cannot provide digital asset custody services at scale, they simply will not offer those services, which could lead to market participants not having bank-grade custody solutions to pick from and will turn to offshore solutions, like in the Bahamas, diminishing American competitiveness and compromising investor protection.
Get him.
Chairman Gensler, has it occurred to you the irony that at the same time you pursued SAB 121, which has effectively precluded highly regulated banks from offering customers the safety and security of segregated digital asset custody services, not a single one of the 4,500 employees under your supervision at the SEC noticed that FTX was allowed to commingle customer funds, allowed FTX to trade, settle, custody, lend, and borrow digital assets without institutional-grade custody?
Get him.
I'm actually quite proud of the staff.
Proud of what, fool?
That staff accounting bulletin, because what they said is that public companies, not just banks, but that public companies needed to put on their balance sheet if they had their customer crypto. And is what we've subsequently found in bankruptcy court, Celsius bankruptcy and others, that in bankruptcy, investors just stand in line.
Well, reclaiming my time, did you or your staff consult with prudential bank regulators? Was there any interagency interaction on SAB 121 before or after this was issued in March of 2022, given the ramifications that this effectively prevents well-regulated banks from providing digital asset custody services?
There was significant dialogue beforehand with accounting professions, the Big Four and others, because this question kept coming up, but there has been consultation about this with the bank regulators subsequently.
Well, I find it very interesting that nobody at the SEC, under your supervision, noticed that FTX, a one-time $32 billion company, was run on QuickBooks. Private funds rulemaking, You have repeatedly stated that increasing competition in the private fund market is one of the primary objectives of your proposal. But last week, the Committee on Capital Markets Regulation issued a competitive analysis of U.S. private equity fund market. Its key findings: concentration is very low and 4 times lower than the concentration of the public mutual fund industry. The number of fund advisors and funds is steadily growing. The range of investment strategies available to investors is increasing at a significant rate. Barriers to entry are low. Effective management fees have been declining. Performance net of fees and portfolio diversification benefits outmatch that of public markets. Demand from investors is growing. This analysis directly refutes the entire basis of your rulemaking, that there is a lack of competition in private equity. Indeed, your proposal will have the exact opposite effect.
That's right.
Reduce competition in U.S. private funds markets, including disadvantaging newer and smaller private equity advisors and decreasing the number of investment opportunities available to investors. When you contend there's a need for greater competition in the private funds market, what specific evidence are you relying on?
Just looking at this field and what the limited partners came to the SEC and did various filings with us saying they needed greater transparency about fees, about performance, and about the side letters, and particularly the side letters, because the fund managers are cutting special deals. If I might just say on the earlier point on crypto, if these companies had registered, we'd be able to look at their books and records. But when they don't register, the only tools we have is actually investigative.
Well, reclaiming my time and back to private funds, you know, the United States has only 4.4% of the world's population, but 50% of the capital is raised here. And Europe, by contrast, has the same population, but less than 20% of the capital raised here. The difference between us and Europe, and I want to stay the U.S., not Europe, is that we diversify our markets with private capital being a big driver, making credit easier to obtain for all Americans, making investments in tech, in healthcare, biotech, manufacturing, higher paying jobs. So when you analyze proposals to change our capital markets, don't forget to recognize we've got a much better system than Europe. Let's not be Europe. Yield
The
back.
gentlewoman from Massachusetts, Ms. Presley, is now recognized for 5 minutes.
Wow, get him.
Thank you, Chair Gensler, for joining us today for this critical hearing. Although I wish it didn't have to be repeated, I know there are some who deny this fact, so I just want to reaffirm that climate change is real. It is here, and let's be very clear that our constituents' investments, whether it's their personal retirement savings or college savings for their children, are at risk. The good news is the SEC's proposed climate disclosure rule would help protect investors by requiring companies to disclose their exposure to climate risk. Although the cheerleaders for big oil want to weaken this rule, the consequences are clear. Without a comprehensive climate disclosure regimen, we will fail working class people throughout our country, and we will fall far behind our global partners. Chair Gensler, you mentioned earlier that during the comment section that there were thousands of investors that commented favorably, correct, on the proposed rule?
That's correct. I think we've gotten 15,000 comments, and on the investor side, it's almost uniformly supportive of mandating climate risk disclosures.
Right, they were overwhelmingly favorable. So for those watching at home, I just want to get into the details to better explain why they were so overwhelmingly favorable. There are 3 categories of greenhouse gas emissions. Scope 1 and 2 emissions result from a company's operations. For example, the pollution from a company vehicle or their use of electricity generated from fossil fuels. And then there are Scope 3 emissions, which are the biggest category, making up on average 70 to 80% of a company's carbon footprint. These are resulting from indirect ops, which include the entire business model, including emissions produced by suppliers and also from consumers using the company's product.
That's right.
Big Oil is fighting to get rid of Scope 3 emissions disclosure from the SEC's proposed rule because in a world without transparency, they can gravely misrepresent their exposure to climate risk and rake in millions of dollars. Oil companies like Chevron reduced their Scope 1 emissions by switching to electric vehicles for transportation.
That's right, sis. Let them know.
And their Scope 2 emissions by installing solar energy at their headquarters, then they could technically claim to be net zero, even if they continued selling fossil fuels as their core product.
That's right. That's right.
Chair Gensler, if you were an investor looking at climate transition risk in your portfolio, do you think that looking at an oil company's Scope 1 and 2 emissions alone would give you an accurate picture of your risk exposure?
Well, in my personal portfolio, I'm only allowed to be in index funds, but in terms of, or broad-based funds, but what we've learned is many of the comments we received from actual investors have said they would like to have better consistency around this greenhouse gas emissions, including some estimate about their supply chain.
Right? The people want to see Scope 3 disclosures. The European Union and other countries around the world are implementing new disclosure rules that include Scope 3 emissions in the next few years. Now, some argue that reporting is too burdensome, but 70% of U.S. companies will be reporting Scope 1, 2, and 3 emissions within the next few years, regardless of what the SEC does. So let me make it plain. This is not the time to backtrack and to weaken regulations. Now is the time for action and to put people over polluters. Thank you, and I yield.
Tell him, Ms. Presley.
The gentleman from Texas, Mr. Williams, is now recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. We've seen a troubling, and I'm from Texas, I need to tell you this, so a lot of this conversation doesn't ring well back where I live, but we've seen a troubling trend with current administration who continues to call for more government regulations and push an anti-growth green agenda. The SEC's climate risk disclosure rule would have major consequences for the businesses across the country, especially smaller entities who lose out on opportunities because they cannot afford the increased compliance costs that come with burdensome regulations like these, and we see this administration continue to put the pressure on small business. An economic analyst of the SEC's climate proposal estimated that compliance associated with these requirements could cost over $100 million for certain companies. This would be detrimental for companies and will stifle innovation and businesses' ability to grow. So what is the SEC's legal authority to enforce these climate-focused regulations, and how does the SEC plan to ensure that its climate disclosure rule does not disproportionately harm smaller entities? I'm a business guy in Texas. I'm a small business, which may lack the resources and expertise to comply with the rule's reporting requirements.
Let me take your second question first,
Okay.
all right. Our authorities are just about the public registrants, these 7,000 or 8,000 companies. And we're not placing any obligations on non-public companies, companies that aren't raising money in, like, you know, on the New York Stock Exchange. In terms of the authorities, we're staying right within those authorities I talked about earlier that Rayburn and Roosevelt wrote. It's about describing the business, putting it out there, the full and fair description, including the material risk, and investors today are making decisions based on climate risk disclosure. So it's trying to bring some consistency to that, but we are not a climate regulator,
Okay.
and we're neutral about that.
So following up on this previous question we talked about, is it clear that your climate proposal will undoubtedly impact private companies who cannot shoulder the increased costs that would come with collecting and providing data obligated by this rule? This is not making our public markets more attractive.
Guys, we're going to get back to the video. You can see some of the top gainers. CTSI right now, 76% for the week, 79% for the last 30 days. We're going to get back to the video, guys. Arbitrum's up 40% for the week. We've got Space ID. I don't know what that is, but it is 101 for the week, 55% for the last 30 days. Look at ING has been going crazy at 39% for the week, 106 for the month. Good Lord. FTT, who cares? Who would ever invest back in FTT again? I'm just saying. I won't even read it. We're at Dogecoin right now, 11% for the week and 25% for the month. They're talking about relaunching FTT. Who cares? Jasmine is up 13% for the week, 38% for the month. Some of the other big gainers, let's see. What else is on the... Oh, my God. XEN, crypto. 159% for the week, 953% for the month. Wow. Wow. That's all I can say about this one. XEN? What in the world is going on with XEN? Oh, my goodness. I don't know what's going on, but those are some big old numbers. Those some big numbers, guys. Good Lord, 953. Just think if you had a little of that, huh? If you had a little of that, good Lord, XEN. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I think I've seen this one before. I want to get out of here. Did we not bring this up? Okay. Did we not bring this up the other day? Somebody bring this up the other day? I'm just saying. Wow. For those of you guys who just joined us, we've been watching the Gary Gonzo, Mr. Burns from the Homer Simpson Show, Gensler live. Guys, we're going to continue to watch this, as I think that's probably the biggest topic right now. We want to make sure we catch this and watch it together as a family. We can see right now everything crypto is on fire. Well, not on fire, but it's definitely up. The market cap is a little bit up here. We've got Bitcoin right now back at 30,200. If this continues on in an upward trajectory or sideways, altcoins could take off. You can see some of these altcoins already moving. You can see, you can actually see some of the prices that I just discussed right now with some things that are on fire, like Arbitrum, some of the top 50 coins right now. But we're going to get back to this and listen because we're trying to hear what's going to be said about more crypto topics. Let's do it. Much love to the Crypto for Life family. Anthony Wanner, wow, great job. XEN, I know. I got to look at my portfolio. It made me look at it. Like, what the hell? Do I got any of that? I think I might got a little bit. Dr. Sheba's in the house. JC, we appreciate you, my brother. We got Karma Carmichael's in the house. Frankie Legends in the house. What's up, my friends? I appreciate each and every one of you guys being here. Let's get back to old Gary G. Hot topic.
See this on Main Street with the regulations that Biden administration has put on businesses. So we'll see it in costly resources that business owners could otherwise be using towards raising capital,
business?
growing business operations, quite frankly, hiring people and put people to work.
Business or business?
Can you discuss the impact that increased reporting requirements and the associated costs will have on attractiveness of our public markets and private companies' decision to go public and grow?
I think those public companies already are making significant disclosures about climate risk. And I think that what we can do is help bring some consistency, also ensure for those companies that are public that
Is it me or does it look like Gary Gensler needs a Tic Tac or a breath mint or something? I'm just saying. Let's keep going.
that consistency helps.
Providing retail investors some idea of what kind of quality of order execution they get when they switch to different platforms, I think is the right answer. But I'm a little bit leery about having a new complicated reporting requirement for all the different market participants. There is one entity that has all the necessary data. It's the Consolidated Audit Trail. And running some standard agreed upon open source version of the software on the Consolidated Audit Trail, some lagged version of the Consolidated Audit Trail, I think would get that information in a form that would be digestible. So I could just have your reaction, first off to pilot programs, and secondly to the technical implementation of measures of execution of order quality.
We put out the 4 proposals in December, and I think that they address separate important parts of the market. In terms of the 2 that you mentioned, the updating of a 23-year-old rule so that the retail public, the individual investors can get better information on execution quality, I think is what you call it, 605. I'm glad to hear you're supportive of that. In terms of the auctions that we propose, this order routing rule that we propose, that was really to help individual investors get better execution and get more competition with regard to their execution.
Yeah, but it's not blindingly obvious, at least to me, that they're actually going to get better pricing. You know, this sort of cockamamie system that we have right now does allow a retail investor to sort of raise up his hand and say, look, I'm clueless. Will you give me a good price to trade against me because I'm documented to be clueless? If you understand,
Well, actually,
low toxicity of their order flow is, I think, the buzzword.
I like to think that the individual investor is pretty smart, but the individual investor is only trading small amounts of stock, and so there's a sweetness in the order.
Yeah.
And it's trying to get
That's right, but-
competition for that sweet order because it's small.
Yeah, but right now, your system, as I understand it, might take away that, his ability to sort of monetize the sweetness of his small, clueless orders.
I actually think, and again, it's only a proposal, we're going to consider all the comments that come in, but it's trying to get even greater competition. It's saying that that order could go straight to a lit exchange, that'd be fine. That order, if it can get at least mid-market, half the spread, that would be fine. But if it's less than that and not on a lit market, put it out to some competition.
Yeah, and then, so a pilot program would reveal that, is, the main point I'm making, that if you do this, you should see better, hive off 10% of the market, try your auctions, and see if the order execution quality is better. It seems straightforward. I'm a scientist and a big fan of data. Nothing is more joyful as a scientist than to prove the theorists wrong. And you have theoretical calculations that should save money, and you should be able to prove it with a pilot program before you, expose the whole market to it. Let's see, you sort of touched on crypto, and one of the lessons, it seems like if you're going to prevent wash trades, you need to know the true identity. Some regulator somewhere has to know the true identities behind market participants. And have you found any way in the crypto business to reconcile sort of the crypto libertarian point of view with the absolute necessity to know the true identities to prevent wash trades, or are wash trades the price we pay for crypto?
It's to get the intermediaries, the storefronts, to register, and then we could get the data from those crypto exchanges themselves as to where the buy and sell orders are coming from.
All right.
Gentleman's time's expired. The gentleman from Minnesota, Mr. Emmer, is now recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you. Chair Gensler, I have a lot of questions in a limited amount of time, so if you could keep your answers to either a yes or a no, that will allow us to get through as many as possible, sir. From your perspective, is it more difficult now for the digital asset industry to access financial products and services in the United States than it was, say, 2 years ago?
Sir, I'm not running one of those businesses. If they came into compliance, I think
Reclaiming my time. The answer, sir, is yes. Do you think you and the SEC have had a role to play in that?
Yes.
I think we have a role to protect the American investor and the capital markets and the...
Reclaiming my time, sir. You have played an obvious role in that. During your tenure at the SEC, how many rules has the SEC finalized that actually accommodate the existing regulatory framework and are specifically to the digital asset industry so the crypto market can come into compliance?
It's their rule books that are on the books for years, so we have not finalized any new rule specifically with regard to crypto. We've proposed some things in best execution. We've also...
Sir, reclaiming my time, the answer is 0. And how many enforcement actions has the SEC levied against digital asset companies during your tenure, sir?
I think it's probably 40 or 50.
The answer, sir, is about 55. My understanding is that the biggest crypto failure in history is probably FTX at $9 billion.
I love it.
Were you the chairman of the SEC when FTX collapsed?
Yes.
And how many times did you meet with FTX prior to their collapse?
Come on now, get him.
I think my public record shows 2.
You met it with FTX at least
did
twice.
nothing.
And arguably, the second biggest crypto failure in history was Terra Luna. Who was the chairman of the SEC when Terra Luna collapsed, sir?
We had brought...
You were, sir, reclaiming my time. You were.
That's right.
There are 5 members on the commission. Do you believe your speeches and interviews are to serve as the official position of the SEC?
Get a member.
I can only speak for myself when I'm speaking.
Again, sir, in a statement on the SEC website, you are quoted saying, "The Kraken staking as a service enforcement action should make clear to the marketplace that staking as a service providers must register." But again, you haven't provided any rules for how that can be done. I must remind you, your public statements are not regulations. It's not responsible to expect the American people to assume your statements are a substitute for rules. Do you agree with this statement regarding the digital asset industry? The SEC needs additional congressional authorities to prevent transactions, products, and platforms from falling between the regulatory cracks.
I think that it's a
Shut up.
largely
Get him again.
non-compliant field. and we
Sir,
could use
again,
additional
I
resources.
asked you to comply with my questions, and I'm asking you if you agree with that quote. And I'm going to tell you, I'm quoting you from an August 3rd, 2021 article where you, and I believe you told Congressman Hill earlier that you need congressional authority to regulate stablecoins, and stablecoins happen to be a significant percentage of the crypto market. So the question is, when were you telling the truth? To Mr. Hill or to me? You've got to start answering these questions in a more transparent manner, sir. Does it concern you, by the way, that your approach to the digital asset industry is actually driving this industry out of the United States?
Woo!
We're trying to drive it to compliance, and if they're not
Get 'em!
complying with the laws, then they shouldn't be offering their products.
Reclaiming my time. Madam Chair, I would like to enter into the record this Wall Street Journal article from April 14th, 2023, detailing China's ploy to open its banking system to crypto firms in an effort to seize an opportunity created by our hostile regulatory environment, which, Mr. Chair, you're a big part of.
Without
Look,
objection.
Chair Gensler, FTX was domiciled abroad and so is Binance, yet American consumers still had access to both. You can't really think that pushing this industry abroad is going to protect American consumers when it hasn't several times in the past on your watch. You say the crypto market is rife with non-compliance. However, existing SEC rules make no sense for blockchain-based companies, and following them would actually kill these businesses.
That's right.
Your regulatory style lacks flexibility and nuance, and as a result,
XRP.
you've been an incompetent cop on the beat.
XRP.
Doing nothing to protect
Leave us
everyday
alone.
Americans and pushing American firms into the hands of the
Get 'em.
CCP.
Yep.
Your intention to work against SEC mission and put American investors in harm's way has been made very apparent, sir. It's been a year and a half since you've appeared before this committee. You need to answer to Congress about the issues that you've had with the SEC staff union, the work environment you've cultivated at the SEC that's led to hemorrhaging of senior staff, the intellectual inconsistency of your regulatory treatment towards Bitcoin spot ETFs, and your politicization of capital formation opportunities
Gentleman's time
through your
has
treatment of
expired.
certain SPACs. And that's just to name a few.
Get him!
Thank you.
Get him, Tom!
Gentleman
Woo!
from New Jersey, Mr. Gottheimer, is now recognized
Woo!
for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman and Ranking Member
Yes.
Waters. Mr. Gensler,
And
thank
he
you for
got
being here
up
today.
and
Thank you
left.
for your leadership
I'm going to the
on
bathroom.
fronts.
I got so mad,
Take a breath
I got to
and,
go to the bathroom and
quick
relieve
questions.
myself. Get him!
I
Get him,
share
Tom!
with you my concern with the unusually short-fused, overlapping, rushed, and zone flooding rulemaking under the SEC, and undermining my fear that it undermines the public's ability to provide thoughtful feedback on the proposals of the Commission and risk stressing an already tenuous economic climate. The SEC.
You talking about the climate? I'm talking about get rid of Gensler. Tails! That was amazing. This is for Tom. Woo! Hey, go Tom. Go Tom. Go Tom. Go Tom.
Does it like it is. Got him switching gears in Ferrari with the tens. On some bullet shit, stop crying, start buying, getting bags.
Hey, hey, hey.
Call it rocket science. I'm so tired of this crypto control. You already know, basically letting money go.
That's what Tom was talking about. I'm so tired of this crypto control. You're driving the American business out of America. And who's embracing it? China. Opening up their bank saying, come over here. Come over here. We'll take care of you. Huh? Other countries will take care of you. Huh? Tom gave him that old Shaquille O'Neal elbow right to the jaw. You're hurting the people. You're hurting our position. You're hurting the fact that we should be a powerhouse in crypto. Huh? You're making us look like some little weak wenches. What's wrong with you? Huh? That's what he said. Get him. Get him. Man, I don't want to hear nothing else about client. I want to hear about that. That was amazing, Tom. Get him, Tom. Yeah. We got to go back. Good Lord, we're over an hour. Hey, but that's okay. If you got somewhere to be, God bless you. This is important stuff. But Tom came through. Tom Emmert came through like no other. Wow. Huh? Checked him from the neck up. He got a checkup from the neck up. Get him.
The Inspector General raised concerns with this aggressive and rushed approach to rulemaking through and to ensure stability in the financial markets. But I'm concerned that doing it in this manner, it's sometimes hard to tell the impact these rules will have collectively on the economy, on jobs, on certain key job-producing sectors in my state of Jersey and the tri-state area and nationwide. Since you've taken the helm of the SEC, 27 of the Commission's 53 comment periods have had a highly unusual comment period, shorter than 45 days from the date the proposal was published in the Federal Register. Considering the delay between when rules are posted on the website and when they are posted in the Federal Register as part of the comment period is not only consistent, it strays from the historical practices of the SEC. These proposals collectively total more than 4,000 pages with more than 2,500 questions to respond to. Last year, it took a letter from 47 members of Congress to get you to extend a 30-day comment period on a 300-page rulemaking with more than 900 questions. Many of the proposals put forward by the Commission in the last 2 years affect the same stakeholders who've repeatedly requested additional time, especially small businesses and other smaller players in the space, to respond to the SEC's often overlapping and rushed comment periods. And I'm concerned that limited stakeholder engagement, especially from small businesses without large regulatory teams to respond, will lead to unintended consequences that will ultimately harm American consumers. Have you at any point been concerned that by moving this hastily, that it could really hurt smaller market participants and their time to provide feedback?
I'm very proud of what we've done. We put out 46 proposals to date. We've reopened some, so that may be why this other numbers floating around this hearing. And on average, it's been more than 70 days from the time we voted out, we put it on our website, and we have a formal end to a comment period. But then we get comments after that, and we take meetings after that, and we engage actively with trade associations and market participants.
My only concern there is when, it doesn't actually count when it goes on a website because there's no formal comment period on a website. It's the Federal Register, when it goes to the Federal Register is what the standard is. So
with all respect, people can read it, people can start to do their analysis, they can engage with staff or with their trade association members.
So they can start submitting comments as soon as it goes on the website? Is there a way to do that? Formal comments?
They tell us that they want to have time to read what we do. We put it out. It's very transparent. And we also often consider comments well beyond that period of time and continue to receive comments. On average, it takes 12 to 15 months from proposal to considering an adoption. And so,
but the comment period closes. But the comment period closes during that time, right?
This dude's an idiot.
But we continue to have meetings, we continue, and the staff
Wasting
and the
money.
commission is
Wasting
able
money.
to consider, just like this hearing right here. Is
You know, guys, to me, it seems like this guy is just an idiot. He's a total waste of money, and I think he runs the SEC much like he answers questions. I think it's the same thing. There's no clear anything to what this guy's doing, and if he's frustrating to listen to for us, and if he's frustrating to all those that are there trying to get answers, imagine how the SEC is being ran. This is why we can't get clarity. This is why this is prolonged. This is why this whole case where Ripple is still going on is BS. And during the whole time, all he's doing is destroying the American people's position in the evolution of money or putting themselves in a position financially to benefit, while the rest of the world has clarity or in better positions to win, and we're not, because there's, let me keep it going. I almost said something. Keep it going.
Continue on a little bit in the direction that my colleague from New Jersey was going on the number of rulemakings and how you have fast-tracked a lot of these, limiting public comment period. I've heard you say in here that you support congressional oversight, and you respect it, but from what we've seen, your actions are different than what your words
That's right.
are saying. You've shortcut a lot of the Administrative Procedures Act.
That's right.
Your rulemaking.
Yep.
It appears that what you're wanting to do is hurry things along before Congress can have its due oversight.
Yep.
Excuse me. But what I want to talk about is something that I have not been in favor of, and I've opposed ever since it was proposed, which is the consolidated audit trail. I know Mr. Hill asked you some questions about that. First of all, I've never been supportive of it, but it's here, and we have to constrain it. I believe it's a violation of the Fourth Amendment, of right to privacy of individual investors. Let me put it in the words of the American Securities Association, and they described it of how the collection of this data violates the Fourth Amendment right to privacy. because it forces every investor's financial information, personal information, and transaction history without any evidence of wrongdoing. And I want to quote in a letter that they have sent to this committee, both the ranking member and the chairman, is that tracking unsuspected and unsuspecting Americans' every move in hopes of finding unlawful activity is not consistent with the principles undergirding the Constitution.
That's right.
Which is true.
That's right.
In fact, a lot of information that we see that regulators are forcing independent financial institutions to divulge about their investors or their bankers or those that do business with them. If law enforcement was trying to derive that information, it would require a search warrant. But yet the federal government will come in and they'll force that information out of these individuals. I spent a lot of time in the military dealing with security, information security. I had 30 years in the information technology sector.
Get 'em.
What I see in industry is a decentralization of information because of the risk of disclosure. Blockchain, many industries are going to blockchain because you're no longer centralizing it. When it's centralized, there's a one-stop shop for the bad players to come and get information about individuals. So my first question is, what do you believe in this? Is it easier to protect decentralized investor information held by thousands of firms, or do you feel it's more secure to centralize that in a database administered from Washington, D.C.? Which do you feel is more secure?
There's risk in both sectors. There's risk in the decentralized, there's risk in the centralized. It's really about the appropriate data security in that database. And this is a debate that technologists have quite often. The consolidated audit trail is important to help surveil the market, to oversee the markets. Data was being collected before.
So surveil the markets. So you're looking to use this as surveillance tool of the markets to enforce regulation, or what's the purpose of consolidated audit trail?
To help oversee the markets, to protect against fraud and manipulation, front-running, insider trading.
Without any just cause, or, I mean, are you just randomly going to look? Maybe somebody's doing something wrong here, and I've got all this information. But let me tell you, there is no one in the information systems industry that's worth their salt that will tell you it's more secure to have information at one point, one-stop shop. So if I'm a bad guy, I'm a foreign player, I've only got one spot to go to pull all this information. I'm going to put all my investment, all my technology in breaking your security to get that information versus thousands of places that I do not have the resources to do that. Centralizing is a security risk. Now, one of my questions here, will the consolidated audit trail and the case databases collect personal financial information of American retail investors? Are you going to collect information on individuals who are using platforms to invest? Are you going to collect that information?
Yep, that's what he's trying to do.
You're right, there's two databases. The case database will not have individual, their names, their birthdays, and so forth, but it has to have an identifier so that it can be tagged back to what the broker-dealer has.
What about consolidated audit trail?
Gentleman's time expired. Perhaps you can answer Chair Gensler in writing. The gentleman from New York, Mr. Meeks, is now recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Chair Gensler, for coming to testify today. Now, when you appeared before this committee in 2021, I asked you about your commitment to improving the SEC's diversity disclosures, empowering investors, and encouraging greater corporate diversity.
Say something now, come on.
Especially within America's boardrooms and among senior management. And you mentioned your focus at that time on human capital rulemaking, which would include such disclosure improvements. And I understand that a proposal should be coming out within the next few months. Now, what concerns me, however, is much has happened since 2021, including efforts by some on the extreme right wing, like Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis to politicize diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts and attempt to ignite his own, I guess, presidential campaign. Now we have well-intentioned companies in states like Florida trying to make improvements to their policies who find themselves at odds with the leadership of their state. It's also disappointing since there is evidence, strong evidence, that improving corporate diversity can be a bipartisan issue. This should not be a partisan issue. For example, my board diversity bill received the support of 55 of my Republican colleagues right here on the House floor in 2019. So we passed it with the support, a bipartisan support with my Republican colleagues, many of whom sits on this very committee. So given the attempts by Governor DeSantis and others to curtail DEI efforts in academia and corporate America, I have two questions related to your human capital rulemaking work. Is the SEC considering how state-level efforts to hamper DEI-related programs could make it harder for companies to comply with more robust human capital disclosures, which we expect from the SEC?
We consider the law, the federal law, but certainly if you have things, and we maybe have staff follow up, if there's something at the state level that you want to flag for us and help us sort through in terms of any of our rulemaking, but particularly with regard to human capital management. But we try to do our best to stay within the law and how the courts interpret our laws.
Yeah, so, you know, what I'm concerned about are there things that the SEC can do in your human capital rulemaking so that you can shield public companies looking to do the right thing with respect to DEI and disclosure from state-based legal challenges, or at least will the SEC seek public comments on this question?
Well, in all of our rulemaking, we seek public comment on our authorities because we want to, of course, stay within our authorities, but our disclosure-based authorities, again, we're merit neutral, and that's because Congress chose that we needed to stay that. But it's the disclosures for investors to best understand the companies they're investing in as it relates to human capital, that they could best understand that most important asset of the company.
And I couldn't agree with you more. And I think that's good policy. That's why it should be bipartisan. And that's why it has been bipartisan previously. So I'm just hoping that states, like what's happening in Florida, doesn't occur or affect what you're trying to do on an equitable basis, just giving investors the information they know. Let me do real quickly, I see I'm running out of time. You know, I know people I want to touch on crypto regulation.
Come on now.
As you are aware, our regulator in New York, the New York Department of Financial Services, has created a first-in-class bit licensing regime for virtual currency businesses, which we are very proud of. What I'm afraid of, some are saying that they may take businesses throughout this country abroad and
That's
get
right.
regulated
Get the hell
someplace
out of here.
else.
That's right. That's right.
What say you on that?
I say if they're complying with the laws and doing the right by investors, they can be here, but if they're not complying with the laws,
What laws?
what
regulatory
investors will
clarity?
get harmed.
I'm out of time.
The gentleman from West Virginia, Mr. Mooney, is now recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. The Securities and Exchange Commission may be the agency that most directly threatens the livelihoods of West Virginians today. I never imagined I would say that because American presidents are not supposed to so brazenly weaponize the SEC to push through radical climate change policies that they're unable to pass through Congress. When the Obama-Biden war on fossil fuels was first launched in 2009, coal mining gainfully employed nearly 28,000 West Virginians. Today that number has shrunk to 14,000, a 50% decrease. And the SEC has proposed a crippling climate disclosure rule to mandate all sorts of detailed emissions data for public companies and many non-public companies. The SEC already requires the disclosure of material information to its investors, so let's not kid ourselves and say it's about materiality. SEC Commissioner Hester Peirce put it best when she stated, quote, although styled as a disclosure rule, the goal of this proposal is to direct capital to favored businesses and to advance favored political and social goals. In other words, it's about naming and shaming fossil fuel companies. Some estimates suggest this disclosure rule could cost companies over $100 million to comply. So, Chair Gensler, the SEC Inspector General issued a scathing report saying you were rushing through rules without adequately considering the cost. So can you tell me today how many jobs this climate disclosure rule will cost West Virginia families?
Again, sir, we're not a climate regulator and we're merit neutral. This is about companies are already making disclosures and trying to bring some consistency to that disclosure. That's what it's about. It is, with all respect, not about something further than that. In terms of the economics, it's really about ensuring that investors get the benefit of those disclosures. And if they want to go long West Virginia coal, they have the right information to long means to purchase companies that public companies, and it's only about public companies, again.
Well, thank you. Despite your assurances, I think it's clear this rule will be devastating to my state of West Virginia. I'd like to submit for the record, Madam Chair, the Inspector General's statement on the SEC's management and performance challenges. Madam Chair, I'd like to submit for the record the Inspector General's statements on the SEC management and performance challenges.
So ordered.
And I would also like to
Without
submit,
objection.
thank you. I'd also like to submit for the record an op-ed I wrote for the Washington Times on the SEC's climate disclosure rule.
Riveting, without objection.
Thank you. I do have a couple more questions. Chair Gensler, how many climate scientists does the SEC employ?
We employ economists that are more general economists, so some of them might have some knowledge, but I just think of them as market economists and financial economists.
Okay. Second, another question, and it's a yes or no one. Would you agree that Congress is better suited than the SEC to enact climate policy?
I'd say it more straightforward. We're not a climate policy agency. We're a market regulator, and it's about full and fair and truthful disclosure about public companies.
Okay. We'll go with the yes or no again. Do you yes or no, does the SEC have the legal authority and expertise to enact climate policy?
We have the legal authority to enact rules about disclosure about risk, and climate risk is something investors today are investing in. So it's just about authorities about disclosure about these material risk in the financial companies, in companies that are accessing the financial markets.
Okay, but it sounds like you'd agree the SEC doesn't have the legal authority to enact climate policy then.
We're not a climate policy agency. We're a market regulator.
Then why do they keep asking them
disclosure-based
questions about it? Get back to
regulator
get back to digital assets and other stuff.
for public companies.
Well, I ask because this rule is designed to choke off capital from politically disfavored sources of energy. Let me be clear in my last 30 seconds. The SEC has no business enacting climate policy.
That's right.
Which is exactly what you're doing. No matter what changes are made to this proposed rule, it's rotten to the core and should be rescinded entirely.
That's right.
The SEC and the Biden administration must end its war on fossil fuels and return to focusing on the needs of investors, not activists. Thank you, Madam Chair. I yield back.
The gentleman from New York, Mr. Torres, is now recognized for 5 minutes.
Mr. Gensler, there are areas on which we do see eye to eye, like the need to disclose climate change risk or the need to understand the immense implications of the unfolding AI revolution. But I'm going to offer, however, observations about 3 areas about which I've heard concern, and then have you respond as you see fit. First, on the subject of crypto. The lesson learned from the collapse of FTX is that companies that bear the characteristics of FTX, offshore, deregulated, over-leveraged companies, have the greatest risk of losing customer funds. In a world of scarce enforcement resources, one would think that the SEC would prioritize enforcement actions against high-risk companies that resemble FTX, offshore, deregulated, over-leveraged companies. Instead, it appears the SEC has done the opposite. Instead of targeting an offshore, deregulated exchange like Binance, you've chosen to target an onshore, regulated exchange like Coinbase.
Wow.
Instead of targeting an offshore, deregulated stablecoin issuer like Tether,
Wow.
you've chosen to target an onshore, regulated stablecoin issuer like Paxos.
Get 'em.
It seems like your enforcement priorities ignore the lessons learned from the FTX failure. Second, on the subject of equity market structure, if a broker sends a retail order to an exchange, the broker would be in compliance with your proposed rule. But if the broker sends the retail order flow to an off-exchange wholesaler, the broker would be out of compliance with your proposed rule, even if the wholesaler is offering a better price than the exchange. And therein lies what seems to be the perversity of the proposed rule. It strikes me as perverse to tell a broker that you cannot send retail order flow to the wholesaler who's offering a better price and therefore a better execution. On the third subject of private funds, both New York State and New York City retirement systems are heavily invested in private funds. The New York State Common Retirement Fund invested about $29.5 billion in PE, and over the course of 10 years saw an annualized return of 10.12%. The New York State Teachers Retirement System invested $14.7 billion, and over the same period saw 16.6% in annualized returns. The New York City Employees Retirement System invested $6.5 billion, and over the course of 10 years saw an annualized return of 15%. So when I see returns as high as 16.6%, which seem impressive, there's a question that comes to mind: does the SEC risk fixing what ain't broken? So those are three observations, and you're free to respond.
I thank you, and let me try to do them in kind. In terms of crypto, you're right that U.S. investors are accessing the crypto markets, both onshore companies and offshore. Our jurisdictional reach is to both if they're U.S. investors that are participating in that.
But let's be clear, you have the authority to take enforcement action against offshore deregulated exchanges.
We do.
And stablecoin issuers.
It takes longer to build the investigative files. It takes longer, sometimes in cooperation with offshore enforcement authorities to pursue that. And it is, frankly, more challenging to actually get subpoenas complied with. And so it takes longer in time. In terms of your second area about the efficiency in the capital markets, one area is these individual investors and individual investors placing, as you described, these market orders. And what we did was put out a proposal and said, if that proposal is getting at least the middle of the market, at least mid-part or better, it's fine. But if these individual small dollar orders were not doing that, either they're sent to a regulated exchange or put it into competition. But we're going to get feedback on it. And it's one of the 4 rules we put out. It might be the one that I think we've gotten 5,000 plus comments on already.
I guess maybe I'm missing something, because you hold the exchange as the gold standard of competition, but if the wholesaler is offering price improvement relative to the exchange, like, I'm failing to see something.
So one of the things is...
Like, if the wholesaler were offering a worse price, then I would consider that a failure of competition, and I would see the reason for your rule. But if it's offering a better price, are we fixing what ain't broken?
Well, so we don't have a level playing field right now between the dark markets that are probably a third to a half of the market on any given day. And
But what you denounce as the dark markets are outperforming what you consider the gold standard.
Well,
so that's where I'm confused.
So I'm saying that the dark markets actually have different rules of the road. They don't have the same minimum increment.
I could speak to you for an hour, but
so we're trying to harmonize that. On your last,
Gentleman's time's expired. The chair now recognizes the gentleman from
spent
Ohio,
more time going,
Mr. Davidson, for 5 minutes.
Was that 2 minutes?
Chairman Gensler, in advance of today's hearing, did you coordinate acceptable responses with Senator Elizabeth Warren?
No, I'm speaking on my own behalf.
Did you coordinate with Democratic staff? And I ask because it happened before, and I want to be clear whether you operate of your own accord or whether there's some sort of coordinated approach to the damage that you're inflicting on America's capital markets.
That's right.
I'm here as sitting in my role as chair of the agency, but I speak and I get remarkable support by SEC staff.
All right, well, I have a few quick questions where a yes or no answer will suffice. Chairman Gensler, part of the SEC's mission is to protect investors. Does the SEC review pre-IPO documents?
I think you said pre-IPO documents. You're supposed to, if you're going to take a company public, the staff of the SEC does review those to see that they're in compliance.
Correct. Is Coinbase a publicly traded company?
Get them.
I'm sorry?
Coinbase, is Coinbase publicly traded?
Get them. Yep.
Yes.
All right,
Okay.
so the SEC allowed pension funds and retail investors to invest in a company, Coinbase, that you apparently, from prior remarks, believe was engaging in illegal activity. All of their activities were laid out in their public filings in the S1 prior to the IPO. You did say that you believe Coinbase is selling unregistered securities, correct?
Again, I'm not going to speak to any one.
No, but you said that they're selling unregistered securities. This is your public comments.
I think, with all respect, I look forward to you finding that because I'm trying to be very careful. I'm not speaking
We'll help
about
refresh
any
your
one
memory.
company.
In the Kim Kardashian settlement, the
Get 'em!
SEC stated
Woo!
that Ethereum Max is a security. She reached a settlement for promoting an unregistered security. The unregistered security is Ethereum Max. Have you charged the issuers of Ethereum Max for offering an unregistered security?
We reached a settlement with a celebrity, Ms. Kardashian.
Yeah, but not, she just promoted it. She doesn't operate Ethereum
right.
Max.
That's
Have you
right.
said that Ethereum Max is an unregistered security to the people that offer it?
We did in that settlement, yes, sir.
Okay, it's still trading. What about Ethereum? Is Ethereum now a security?
We had this
I heard your
discussion.
exchange. They've been in place since 2015. You say in your statements that there's clarity in the market and the rules are clear. Just come on in. You can't even answer the question. Do you say XRP is a security?
Get them. Get them.
Well, we're in court and active discussions and litigation on that.
You're in litigation because you do say it's a security. As you know, let's move on a little bit. As you know, qualified custodian banks would effectively be unable to provide crypto asset-related custody as a result of punitive capital impact under accounting provisions in Staff Accounting Bulletin 121. Do you agree that the bulletin should be amended?
I think that the staff addressed an accounting issue and appropriately saw that crypto assets held in custody today are not segregated or not bankruptcy remote in bankruptcy and should be appropriately put on public company financials.
I wish I had time to go into the ESG rule and everything else, but Chairman Gensler, your record of failures to protect investors and abuses of power make it clear that we need to restructure the Securities and Exchange Commission.
Yes,
The
I agree.
failures are many, but let me cite some of the abuses.
That's right.
You average more than 2 rules proposals a month. You provide inappropriately short comment periods. You have unworkable and unlawful
Get 'em.
ESG disclosure mandates on the market.
Yep.
You have essentially a Hotel California rule for crypto where you can check in anytime you like, but you can never leave. You have endless discovery with no resolution and no clarity for the captives in the market. You have unworkable proposals for overhauling equity market structure, a de facto ban on crypto through proposed custody rule. You have high staff turnover, unhappy people leaving your office, and unhappy companies and capital leaving our country.
That's right. Get them.
To correct a long series of abuses, I'm introducing legislation that removes the chairman of the Securities and Exchange Commission and replaces the role with an executive director that reports to the board where all authority would reside. Former chairs of the SEC will be ineligible under my proposed bill. And this isn't just my take. It resonates across the political spectrum. The American people want democratic access to capital, retail investor participation. You can't just exclude retail investors from markets and claim it's for their own good. Our markets need to function and flourish, and I yield back.
The gentlewoman from Texas.
Got him!
Ms. Garcia, is now recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank
Oh,
you,
my goodness, I love
Chair
it.
Gensler, for being
This is
here
worth
today.
it.
I know
Every
it's
minute.
long.
Bullseye, XRP, Sev. Bullseye, XRP, Sev Bonanza.
Bear with us, we're almost
Bullseye.
there.
Get him.
As we know, April is Financial Literacy Month, so I would like to begin by touching on the SEC's financial literacy efforts. My home state of Texas consistently ranks concerningly low in financial literacy.
Get him. Got him.
The Federal Reserve Bank of Dallas reports that Texas's low financial literacy rates are correlated with poor outcomes on measures like emergency savings.
Sorry this is taking so long, guys,
possession of
but
a
hey,
bank account,
it's worth every
and
minute.
credit
If
score.
we go over 2 hours, I'm
And
okay
even
with
further in my district, which is 77%
Oh, I love it.
Latino,
Yeah.
limited English proficiency adds an additional barrier. Chairman Gisler, I understand that SEC holds an annual financial literacy and career day for high schools that recently took place. I'd like to commend the SEC for these outreach efforts, and I would also like you to encourage the commission to strive for more financial literacy outreach work. Can you please provide an update on the SEC's financial literacy outreach efforts and the event that took place this month?
It's a really important part of our role is
That's
to
right, Carmichael.
investor education, and we have an office of investor.
What we're hoping while he's answering this question is that Judge Torres is watching. Judge Torres is watching this going, what? You need to come to a decision, Judge Torres, huh? Tell him, XRP Sev Bonanza, this is riveting. You got to love it, man. Put his butt on the burner, huh? That's right. Where we at? Bitcoin, since we last talked, 30,253, huh? What's going on? You got to love it, guys. And the markets are responding. Huh? That's okay. Come on, XRP. Hang in there, baby. Hang in there. Oh, woo. Not a lot has changed, but I'll tell you guys what. Oh, my goodness. I love it. Huh? With all the yin and the yang and all the negativity we've been having, we need some positive sentiment in the crypto industry. And guess what? Them frying old Gary Gensler booty, that's positive. Let's keep it going.
My district, particularly when it comes to our Spanish speakers.
Thank you guys very much for being here. Carmichael, Anthony Wanner, XRP Sev. I appreciate you. All the Crypto for Life family. Appreciate you guys being here. I know a lot of the Crypto for Life family is probably stuck watching this at home. Probably don't even know that we're actually showing this. JC, appreciate you, my brother. Island, Ghost, Stephanie, what's up, my friend? This is still going on or replay. This is live, Stephanie. This is live. Yeah, we got it on live right now. We haven't left. We're an hour and 46 minutes in, and we're going to keep it going, Dr. Sheba. Ain't that right, Laurel Jack? Tell him, Big Bro 10. Frankie Legends in the house. I know some of you guys probably got to get back to what you're doing. A lot of you guys going, hey, this is long, but you know what? This has to do with our future. There's nothing greater than the evolution of money and ending financial slavery, and for that reason, we will continue on. Woo!
Increase companies' bottom lines and performance. Employees that are taken care of.
Randy B., good morning.
Just perform better. Chairman Gensler, can you please provide an update?
We're
on
live.
the SEC's
Gary
efforts to
Gensler,
produce
Mr.
more
Burns from The
comprehensive
Simpsons. We're live.
rulemaking On human capital disclosures, and why is this type of disclosure so important?
That's right.
So the staff is still working on recommendations to the full commission. I think it was in 2020, we actually updated the requirements for disclosure, including human capital
we
disclosure.
outside
So
on
we
this
wanted
hearing.
to take a close look of how those disclosures looked in 2021 and 2022, and then based upon that, put forward further recommendations. Why they're important, it's really an important asset of many businesses. And I know even when I was young on Wall Street.
Nobody
and I
cared
was
about
in
what
the
you were
Goldman
young on
Sachs
Wall Street.
merger
No one cares, Gary. I don't want to hear it. I don't even want to hear it. I'd rather play Tails over you. Tails!
Women in the dough as you see gets
got
exposed.
it good.
Tomorrow's the day we
Woo!
can blow. I'll be better off
Hey!
selling at a loss.
Hey!
Not caring what it costs. I ain't when it drop.
Hey!
Waiting for the flip flop.
I'm so sick of Gary Gensler's face. I'm gonna have nightmares about him. Like, remember, his face is imprinted in my head. Like when I watched, was it Nightmare on Elm Street? Freddy Krueger. Remember that? Remember that face? That's Gary Gensler's face to me. It looks just like it. Let me stop. Oh, good Lord. What's going on, guys? What we know is May 6th, XRP Bags, Crypto Tales, Lady E, your boy James, aka Six8Jay, the Crypto for Life family, the IBF family. We're going to be out there in Las Vegas hanging out. That's right, guys. Come out there and join us. May 6th, there's also an XRP event. And what a great way to lead up to that event than maybe having some type of clarity of what's going on with XRP and the SEC. May 6th is going to be legendary. They've got an XRP amazing event out there in Las Vegas from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. That will be in Las Vegas. And then at 6 p.m., we're all going to party, hopefully to some even better news. Guys, if you get a chance to get out there to Vegas, it's going to be absolutely incredible. When I was young on Wall Street, no one cares. When I was young on Wall Street, I just kept running my head into the wall. That's what Gary Gibbs was talking about. Randy B, good morning. The greatest way to start your day is the Crypto for Life family, guys. If you guys don't know, my name is James, aka Six8Jay. I've been in the crypto since 2017. Have created millions of dollars in the industry. We decided after co-hosting with my brother Six8Jay to start our own show about 4 months ago. Here we are. We're super excited, guys, helping everyone understand the crypto space, everything crypto. We've got such an incredible family. If you so choose to do so, you can also become a member. If you see these guys with the blue stars, that means you're a member. I think it's only like $2.99 or something like that. But that membership allows you to not only support the Crypto for Life family and all the things that we've done, but it also allows you to be a part of our VIP exclusive trading and training group. It's absolutely incredible. We have our regular Telegram group that everybody can be in. We also have our exclusive group that teaches people how to read charts, how to enter and exit trades. We're not financial advisors. Nothing we ever say or do should ever be considered or deemed financial advice, but instead we're helping people understand the market so that you can take the greatest advantages of all the crypto opportunities that are out there that allows you to put your family and yourself in an amazing position going into the future and help you become even more legendary and create a story that will lead for generations to come. We appreciate each and every one of you guys for being here. Guess what? Tails, help me. Woo!
Tip top while you watching TikToks on my new wristwatch. The Vegas crypto meter. Hello, nice to meet you. It's our DAI like we do it on time.
That's all we've been playing, Marvin Davis. If you just got here, we've been an hour and 50 minutes. We've been showing Gary G all morning. We took a little pause to say hello to everybody. Let's get back to Gary G live. Here we go. Woo!
Go back my last 5 seconds.
The gentleman from Tennessee, Mr. Rhodes, is now recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chairman. I want to follow up on Mr. Himes'
Marvin Davis in the
comments
house.
earlier and congratulate Chairman McHenry on getting
We've been
you
watching
here
this
so
for over an
quickly
hour.
in the 118th Congress.
Oh my goodness.
Mr. Gensler, it's been a while since you've been here.
That's
and
right.
Testified before this committee.
Get him,
I
Mr.
want to
Rose.
know, how did you manage to go more than a whole year and more than half of the 117th Congress without testifying before this committee?
Congressman, I've been in front of this committee under 3 presidents, under 7 or so chairs. I must say, I enjoy being.
You've also been on The Simpsons as Homer Simpson's boss. Who cares? Get to the point. Let's go.
So I'm wondering,
Come on,
when
Mr.
the
Burns.
Democrats were in the majority, did they not reach out to you all of last year about testifying, or did they ask you to testify and you just refused or declined to come?
I stand ready. Whomever's in the chair's seat, I'm standing ready to be here.
Well, it's good to have you here. I want to shift gears a little. It currently costs just $2,000, you might say, for an individual or group of individuals to submit a shareholder proposal, obviously owning a stake in the company. Many companies have millions of investors who will each spend potentially several hours considering such a proposal to make an informed voting decision. As your agenda continues to make it easier for activists to have their shareholder proposals included on company proxies, why haven't you considered the cost that will be borne by those millions of other shareholders?
Shareholder democracy is an important part of the fabric of our capital markets and has been since Rayburn helped write these laws. And so we do take into consideration cost and benefits of the rules.
When you were justifying your decision to roll back the 2020 proxy advisor reforms, you seemed very concerned with the cost borne by proxy firms. Why was that weighted so heavily?
Well, it was only one of the costs, if I recall the analysis, but there were other costs and benefits that were weighed as well. And I think that it really was about moving forward that they could provide that information to the investing public in a timely way, and then investors get to decide whether to vote yes or no on various proxies.
In January, I wrote to you, and joined by some of my colleagues, Mr. Stile here and Mr. Sessions, I wrote to you regarding my concerns with the new approach articulated in Staff Legal Bulletin 14L and the unprecedented low rate of shareholder proposals permitted to be excluded by SEC staff during the most recent proxy season.
Large majority of everyday retail investors, regardless of income or age, prefer e-delivery for its environmental benefits, speed, and convenience. And businesses strongly support e-delivery because it allows them to enhance the quality of their disclosures, improves investor engagement, and reduces cost. Additionally, it's estimated that the industry sends over 27 billion pieces of paper in the mail, which my staff tells me is the equivalent of 2 million trees being cut down every year. Our bill would align the SEC's rules with my constituents' preferences, and I believe this is an issue that industry, the SEC, environmental groups, and Congress can work together on to make life easier for my constituents. You know, I feel pretty good about this bill. I think it's going to pass. I think it's going to get signed by the president. When that happens, you know, number one, what do you think about the bill? Do you know about the bill? And number three, will the SEC prioritize adopting e-delivery?
I look forward to actually looking at the details of the bill, but if passed and the president signs it, certainly we'll implement it according to its law. I would note, many years ago, I helped work in the late Clinton administration on the e-signature bill that then Senator John McCain led work on. So I believe that a lot that was once done in paper can be done electronically.
Thank you so
XRP
much.
says Mr. Burns
you
on the
know,
hot seat.
Chair Gensler, we share the same goal of making our markets more safe, fair, and equitable. So I'm concerned that dramatic changes to our capital markets, as seen in the proposed rules on equity market structure, could have negative and unforeseen impacts on the working families in my district saving for retirement. I was happy to see the Commission pursue updates to Rule 605 data to modernize data collected from the industry, and applaud you for those efforts. This will certainly improve competition and lower prices. However, since the rules were proposed, several new academic studies have come out with evidence for two of the proposed rules that would do the opposite of what the SEC claims, increasing costs for everyday investors.
Yep.
Without the wholesaler system, these retail investors could lose close to $1 billion per month in additional trading costs. Any increased costs on my constituents looking to save for retirement concerns me. Additionally, I'm concerned that commission-free trading, which my constituents rely on, would go away. Have you considered constituents like mine in North Carolina's 13th district that are saving their hard-earned money for retirement, and how these proposals could increase costs for them?
Absolutely. Your hardworking constituents, I would note, zero commission does not mean zero cost. There's a lot of costs that are elsewhere also in the system. And so the other proposals about that a broker is to have a standard to give you best execution when you place an order, I believed, and we're getting public comment, that's a pretty straightforward standard to get best execution, and your federal securities regulator ought to have that in place, not just the self-regulatory organization. The other proposals are to...
Guys, I think we've heard Gonzo Gensler get fried enough. I think we've heard enough from Gonzo Gensler. Let's see what everybody else is saying in the Twitter world, huh? Gary Gensler can't answer the simplest questions, but we depend on him to answer the hard ones and fly this plane. That's what I'm saying, Gabe. He's a joke. He's a joke. Let's look at this clip. I'm sure we've seen it.
5 minutes. Ether is one of the most popular digital assets and powers the Ethereum blockchain. Back in 2018, then SEC Corporation Finance Director Bill Hinman stated that he believed Ether was not a security. Last month, CFTC Chair Benham expressed his view that Ether is a commodity. The State Attorney General of New York asserted in a court filing last month that Ether is a security. Clearly, an asset cannot be both a commodity and a security. Do you agree?
Actually, all securities are commodity under the Commodity and Exchange Act. It's that we are excluded commodities. But I would agree that a security cannot be also an excluded commodity and an included commodity. I'm sorry, Chair, just to talk about the Commodity Exchange Act more precisely.
Okay, so do you recognize, how would you categorize Ether then?
Look, I think that the general sweep of what Congress did, not just in the 30s, but as amended.
I'm
over
asking you,
years,
sitting in your chair now, to make an assessment under the laws as exist. Is Ether a commodity or a security?
Get him.
Without speaking to any one.
I know you've
token,
repeatedly
it's
said
a
you're not
matter
going to
of
speak to
facts.
one, except you've spoken to one, Bitcoin. So I'm asking you to speak to a second one, the second largest market cap here.
And speaking to the tokens, there's 10 to 12,000. If there's a group of entrepreneurs in the
I'm asking
middle
about
that
one.
the public is
answer
anticipating
the
a
question.
profit
Wow.
based on the.
I'm asking you a specific question, Chair Gensler. I said this in private.
Mr. Burns.
It should be no shock to you. I'm
Answer the
asking
question.
this question.
Come on,
Is Ether a commodity or a security?
And again, it depends on the facts and the law, and if there's a group of individuals.
I'm asking you about the
in
facts and the
middle.
law sitting in your seat and the judgment you are making.
And so, Mr. Chair, I think you would not want me to prejudge because I'm also.
But you have
aware-
prejudged.
prejudge
on this.
XRP.
You've
You-
taken
come on.
you've taken 50 enforcement actions. We're finding out as we go, as you file suit, as people get Wells notices on what is a
That's
security.
right. Get him. Get him. Get him. Let's keep it going, guys. What else we got on Big Nose? Let me stop it. The banking collapse was a banking failure due to the rapid increase of interest rates by the public servants and is not a crypto failure as he tried to suggest. I brought this up when I heard this. First thing he tried to do when he had just a few seconds to answer, he's attacking crypto when he was asked about the banks that collapsed. And it has nothing to do with banks. Banks invest your money into risky practices without your consent. Crypto fixes this. Doggone Mr. Barnes.
The biggest, Silicon Valley Bank, actually, when it failed, you saw this country's the world's second leading stable coin.
What the hell's I got to do with the bank?
Had $3 billion involved there, DPEG.
If I had my money in the bank too, my business or whatever I was into would probably depeg or lose value or whatever the case may be as well. Idiot.
So it's interesting just how this was all had some crypto.
Thank you.
It's interesting how you're even in the position that you're in. Let's keep it going. Gary Gensler blamed Silicon Valley bank collapse on crypto. Come on, Burns. If you can't get it right, go back to your daytime series of The Simpsons as Mr. Burns. Stop it. Getting mad. Gensler declines to answer Chairman McHenry's question about whether or not Ethereum is a security. Gives a generic response instead. Come on now. I'm getting more from your bald head than I'm getting from your answers. Let me keep it going. Algorand promoter and SEC Chairman Gary Gensler's testimony today makes him look like a big old clown. Not the honorable, the clown. Keep it going. Let's see, anything else? Is XRP a security? Warren Davidson tells Gary Gensler to his face he's proposing legislation to fire him. Right in your face. How does that feel, guys, to sit there in front of everybody on national TV with millions watching saying, I am proposing a letter, not just from me, but based off of everyone, all my counterparts, all the people here, oh Lord, to get your butt fired.
Gensler, part of the SEC's mission is to protect investors. Does the SEC review pre-IPO documents?
I'm watching again. I don't care. Look at his face.
I think you said pre-IPO documents.
Yeah.
You're supposed to, if you're going to take a company public, the staff of the SEC does
I can't
review
get tired
those
of
to
hearing
see
this
that
part.
they're in
Gotta hear it
compliance.
again.
Is Coinbase a publicly traded company?
Get him! Oh, I love it.
Coinbase, is Coinbase publicly traded?
Is it?
Yes.
All right, so the SEC allowed pension funds and retail investors to invest in a company, Coinbase, that you apparently, from prior remarks, believe was engaging in illegal activity. All of their activities were laid out in their public filings in the S1 prior to the IPO. You did say that you believe Coinbase is selling unregistered securities, correct?
Correct. Did you not?
Again, I'm not going to speak to anyone.
Stop stuttering.
You said that they're selling unregistered securities.
That's what you
This
said.
is your public comments.
I think, with all respect, I look forward to you finding.
He was building up to the next part. We're looking to get your butt fired.
That because I'm trying to be very careful. I'm not speaking
We'll help
about
refresh your
any one
memory.
company.
In the Kim Kardashian settlement, the SEC stated that Ethereum Max is a security. She reached a settlement for promoting an unregistered security. The unregistered security is Ethereum Max. Have you charged the issuers of Ethereum Max for offering an unregistered security?
We reached a settlement with a celebrity, Ms. Kardashian.
Yeah, but not, she just promoted it. She doesn't operate Ethereum Max. Have you said that Ethereum Max is an unregistered security to the people that offer it?
We did in that settlement, yes, sir.
Okay, it's still trading.
What is that called?
What about Ethereum? Is Ethereum now a security?
What is it? What's the ticker for that?
We had this
I heard your exchange. They've been in place since 2015. You say in your statements that there's clarity in the market and the rules are clear. Just come on in.
Come on in.
You can't even answer the question.
You can't even answer the question.
You say XRP is a security?
Get him. Gather himself. Get him again.
We're in court, active discussions and litigation.
Get him.
You're in litigation because you do say it's a security.
That's right, Davidson.
As you know, let's move on a little bit. As you know, qualified custodian banks would effectively be unable to provide crypto asset-related custody as a result of punitive capital impact under accounting provisions in Staff Accounting Bulletin 121. Do you agree that the bulletin should be amended?
I think that the staff addressed an accounting issue and appropriately saw that crypto assets held in custody today are not segregated or not bankruptcy remote in bankruptcy and should be appropriately put on public company financials.
I wish I had time to go into the ESG rule and everything else, but Chairman Gensler, your record of failures
Come on,
to
bring it home.
protect investors and
Bring it home,
abuses of
Davidson.
power make it clear that we need to restructure the Securities and Exchange Commission. The
Restructure.
failures are many, but let me
Are
cite
many.
some of the abuses.
Talk
You
to
average
us.
more than 2 rules proposals a month.
A month.
You provide inappropriately short comment periods.
Inappropriately,
You have unworkable and unlawful ESG
Unlawful.
disclosure mandates
Okay,
on the
get 'em.
market.
Get 'em.
You have essentially a Hotel California rule for crypto where you can check in anytime you like, but you can never leave.
Like a Roach
You have
Motel?
endless discovery with no resolution and no clarity for the captives in the market.
Get 'em.
You have unworkable proposals for overhauling equity market structure,
do.
a de facto ban on crypto through
Ban.
proposed custody rule.
Hurt
You have
people.
high staff turnover, unhappy people leaving your
Nobody
office.
wants to work for you.
And unhappy companies and capital leaving
Yep.
our country.
We're going to leave too.
To correct a long series of abuses, I'm introducing legislation that
To what?
removes the
Huh?
chairman of the Securities and Exchange Commission and replaces the role with an executive director that reports to the board where all chairman of the Securities and Exchange Commission. To correct a long series of abuses, I'm introducing legislation that removes the chairman of the Securities and Exchange. Long series of abuses, I'm introducing legislation that removes the chairman of the Securities. Long series of abuses, I'm introducing legislation that removes the chairman of the Securities and Exchange Commission and replaces the role with an.
Woo! Remove them.
Did a show with Lady E in the bag, man, the next night. A more party, so you know we had to take flight. So many years and there's still no tears.
Yeah.
The fear selling and I'm still all in. What do you
Can we call this official, Tuesday the 18th, officially get rid of Mr. Burns Day? Woo!
do when your freedom is an illusion? How high will it go when the XRP get the moving?
Hey guys, we're 2 hours over we're an hour over our time. We're at 2 hours now. We've been playing the live Gary Gensler fiasco. I believe it was live, but either way, we were playing it, watching it as a family. We appreciate each and every one of you guys getting here. Go back and watch the video. Obviously, crypto is moving up right now. Let's see how this all plays out. Let's get into the drawing, guys. Let's get into the drawing. Apologize for the long stream today, but I let everybody know that, hey, we were going to do this together. We're going to watch it together. And, hey, guys, let's see how this all works out. But let's get into the drawing. And the only way we could do that is with Tails. Tails!
It's amusing when you know that you ain't losing. Going back to go back, got them choosing. Which one? Bag it up. This one? Bag it up.
Pull up in a spacecraft, them bags on us. Get into them bags, so them stacks on us. In a different bracks, where they try to tax on us. Government some lies, but them bags blowing up. Spitting 16s, keep them bags stuffed up. Give you more game than your mainstream rappers. Told you get the bag, disconnect from the fuzz.
All right, guys, if you just joined us for the first time, the way that this works, we do daily drawings. We do daily drawings. We do weekly free crypto giveaways. Lately, it's been XRP. We also do a lot of celebrity interviews. When we do have celebrity interviews or guests on the show, we typically give away crypto at that moment as well. And then Friday, we come back in the evening. Matter of fact, for those of you guys who are new and never been here, we go live every single day, 7 days a week. We are committed. We're a fairly new channel after about 4 months of being up. 2 weeks of that, we were actually shut down for some crazy reason. But we've been up for 2 months. You got to watch what you say here. When you start talking about certain things, they can flag you. So we got flagged for about 2 weeks. But we've been up about 4 months now. Coming over from another show where I was co-hosting, guys. My name is James, aka 6-8Jay. I've been in crypto since 2017. I have an extreme background for anyone who wants to watch that. You can go back to some of the videos. We've done some incredible interviews with a lot of celebrities, pro athletes, for people in Fortune magazine. We've done a lot of charitable work. We've given back to different countries. We've given away to people in need on this show just in the 4 months that we've been here. You can go back and watch any of those videos. We'll appreciate each and every one of you guys being here. If you want to be a part of the show, again, we go live at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Friday. We also come back on Friday evening around 5 or 6, depends. Typically it's about 5 or 6 that we come on and we do our live of the person who has won. You can see there's a wheel right here. We add people right now. We're looking at a person who is 9 down, or we go through the comments. So it depends on how big the number is. We typically count by the person or by the comment. Because there's 9 down today, we're 9? We're going to actually do by the comment. So you can see we can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That puts Beekeeper 69 on the board because we did comments instead of people this time. Beekeeper 69 is on the board. So what we do is we come back Friday after the board is filled up. You can see right now we've got Dr. Sheba, Nesforce, Mike Tatner, Beekeeper 69. We need 3 more people. We will select names each and every day. The way that you get on the list is you go to each video after we finish streaming and you put in a comment. Hey, how you doing? Hey, 6-8Jay, thumbs up, whatever. As long as you put a comment, it gives you the opportunity to be in the drawing. So again, go leave a comment on this video once we are done. We'll go back and read those comments. Sometimes we pick by the person or sometimes we'll pick by the comment. Depends on how big the number is when we go through it. We also do random giveaways throughout the week of XRP and various cryptocurrencies. Lately has been XRP because we've been on another level with XRP. We're super excited about the case possibly coming to a halt or being over. So guys, that's where we're at right now. Obviously, we've been on again for about 2 hours. We'll appreciate each and every holy JC. So guys, thanks so much for being here. Make sure you guys catch us tomorrow. We'll be back live 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Thank you for being here. We'll appreciate each and every one of you guys. Congratulations, Beekeeper 69. Let me say hello to the Crypto for Life family. If you want to be a member, remember, membership allows you to be a part of everything that we're doing. There's so many benefits. We have a Crypto for Life wallet that certain people can be a part of. The members will have a small stake in that as well. Our mods, and if you want to be a mod or be a part of the team, you can be that as well. All it is, you go to membership, you click members. If you want to do that, then you can contact me or JC, who's actually in charge underneath myself for our Crypto for Life trading group to help you understand markets and trading and charting and Fibonacci retracements and market analysis, technical analysis, fundamental analysis. For those who want to understand the matrix a little bit better, we promote everything crypto here, guys. We're so excited. Appreciate each and every one of you guys being here. Again, Nesforce, JC. XRP Sev Bonanza, thank you for being here, my friend. Anthony Wenner, Tavrian Tiller, TT, what's up, my friend? Marvin Davis in the house, always good to see you. Island Ghost Stephanie, always appreciate you being here as well. Vegas, baby, I'll be there. Look forward to seeing you out there, sis. That's going to be great. Ain't that right, Randy B? Randy B, welcome. Appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for being here, Randy B. Karma Carmichael's in the house. Appreciate each and every one of you guys here. All you guys that are new, we'll appreciate you and welcome you to be a part of our family. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe. Go over to our Telegram family, our Telegram link, which you can actually, let me put that in a group here. If you want to be a part of the family, it's absolutely free. You can come on in and then see all the things that we offer as far as obviously just being there for free, and also our membership, which I think is just a couple bucks, and that allows you to be a part of the trading group, which typically costs hundreds, if not thousands of dollars, and you get that for free as well, just for being a member. So we got the Crypto for Life. Let me put it in here. So for those of you guys who don't have it, Telegram, and I just posted that right now, so it should be coming across. Thank you guys for bearing. Normally our streams are at least no more than an hour. We try to be less, at least an hour or less, but today, because of the Gary Gensler Gonzo, AKA Mr. Burns from The Simpsons live, we had to show that. We have a lot of fun on the channel. If you don't know, go back and watch other videos. We do a lot of celebrity things here, so we got some celebrity guys that are going to be coming on. We got more interviews. We also open up for family members to be on the show as well, which is a Crypto for Life family. Appreciate you guys. Until next time, we'll see you there. God bless, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.